Committee, Congressman Darren LaHood. Congressman, good morning. Good to see you again.
Good to be with you, Rob.
What's fascinating to me, Congressman, we had you on a few months ago and we talked about the exact same thing. 80,000 animals from that wet market in Wuhan were tested. They were negative across the board. Are we any closer to knowing definitively where this virus came from?
Well, Rob, it's extremely frustrating and disappointing to see the Chinese, their continued lack of transparency, their deceitfulness. There's an article yesterday in the Telegraph out of the UK that says everything leads to the fact that this virus came out of the Wuhan lab. And essentially, here's where we're at. 800,000 dead in this country, over 4 million worldwide. How do you prevent a future pandemic when you can't even get to the origins or the genesis of this one? Everything that we've seen shows the Chinese are complicit. They were involved with this, but they've been totally, non-transparent in this. And so we on the Intelligence Committee have continued to put together open source information that shows that the Wuhan lab in the fall of 19, that there were people getting sick there. The CCP and the military were doing active testing there. And thirdly, that there were people that were getting sick at that lab there. And this lab had a history of leaks there. And so that's the information. And again, the Chinese continue to be non-compliant, and they need to own up and admit to this. And what we really need to find out now, Rob, is was this intentional or was this blatantly reckless?
That's the million-dollar question. And we just passed another one of these grim milestones. 800,000 Americans have died from COVID-19. It's been with us now for the better part of 22 months. We are less than 2 months away. February 4th, day one of the opening ceremonies in Beijing, the China Olympics, if we can call them that. We certainly can't call it the China virus. But I'm wondering what you think about this diplomatic boycott. I seem to think the administration has got it all wrong. Why not send the diplomats and have our diplomats go to China and are on their own turf call out the atrocities as it relates to COVID origins and the Uyghur Muslims? Go there and bring these issues up in front of the international press.
Yeah, Rob, it's a tough question to answer. I mean, I don't want to, I think about these athletes that have been training for 4 and 8 years to compete in the Olympics. I don't want to, hurt them in some ways, but I think, I'm glad we're doing the diplomatic boycott, but I think we need to do more. And here's the other thing, Rob. If we find more information here this next month or the next 6 weeks before the Olymcs, I think you got to contemplate having a full boycott, particularly with the Chinese not being compliant with anything. I think you got to look at all things. You have to look at sanctions. You have to look at, our trade relationship with China. You have to look at the Olympics. We have to look at how do we hold the Chinese accountable, because what we're doing now is not working. They think this is all going to go away. Right. They're going to sweep it under the rug and no one's going to find out what actually happened there.
Okay, so in 1936, Jesse Owens, of course, this was the Olympic Games in Germany. He won the gold medal for the United States. Really, that was Hitler's Olympics. It was something that legitimized the Nazi Party. Senator Lindsey Graham said that was a mistake to send our athletes in 1936 because, again, on the world stage, that made Hitler's regime at that time, pre-World War II, seem more legitimate in the eyes of the world. Could we be doing the same thing by sending our athletes to China in 2 months?
I think we got to contemplate that, Rob. And again, it's not just us. The Australians have followed us with the diplomatic boycott. The UK has. Other countries are doing the same. I think we have to collectively think about this on how this is going to make China look. Because the number one thing they want these Olympics to come off with no controversy. They want to make sure that China looks great through all this. Meanwhile, again, in the backdrop is the origins of COVID. And so I think you got to think about that between now and then. In this administration, particularly if we find out more information and China continues to be non-compliant and non-transparent and deceitful in this process, I think everything has to be on the table. Again, I don't want to hurt the athletes on this, but there are other things that are more important than that.
Yeah, and